Hi, my name is Jessyca Marshall, and I'm the founder of Naturally Beautiful Hair Care. And I'm also a licensed master's level social worker. And one of the main reasons why I created Naturally Beautiful Hair Care is because I found a great importance to looking at the holistic perspective of hair care and wellness, actually, because I find that it's interconnected in ways that we may not be aware of. So, wanted to just talk a little bit about part of this discussion I think is really important to know. And that is the connection between our bodies and our minds, and understanding how this all plays in the natural hair movement for Black women. So, as I was getting I received my graduate degree in social work from Columbia University School of Social Work, and I'm also currently there as a faculty member, as an academic advisor, which is an adjunct lecturer, and I've been doing a lot of independent research, and it's ironic because it's just about 10 years since I've graduated from Columbia to now being here as faculty. And my cutting off my perm was upon graduation at Columbia University. So I think that somewhere spiritually, something is moving me. And it's very interesting for me to look back and see that I really had the largest impact about wanting to go natural while I was receiving this degree here. And I'm back here walking the very campus I was walking on right before I made that decision, a little over 10 years later. So what I've noticed, though, is that I want to make sure that I'm not generalizing and I'm not covering every Black woman with a blanket, but I'm using my own journey and my own process, my professional background on development and identity development and awareness, and putting that together to come up with some interesting observations. During our formative years, especially in those years that are crucial to our identity and development, pre-adolescence, adolescence, is the years that we usually perm our hair or try to, the straightening could have taken place years before that, but the chemical processing, permanent texture change began for me in that around 11 years old. And I noticed that in a lot of females that was around the same age. And what that did to us was send us a mixed message about our role, our beauty, in the larger scope of society. On a hierarchy of needs, we have our basic survival, our food, our shelter, those things that we need to survive, basic primal urges. And that, for African American women, interestingly, was correlated in our minds, at least, to how people perceived us. For instance, have you ever heard, I won't get a job, or I can't stay at my job if I wear my hair like that? I work in corporate America. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. The only reason why I won't go natural is... And what that's doing for us is it's really saying that you're going to lose one of your main resources for survival in this country is your job or your money income. And if you don't have that, you're not going to survive. So, you were willing to do what you needed to do. We were willing to do what we needed to do when we first stepped foot on this continent, which is why we are here, is because a lot of us did things that we need to do to survive. We also saw preferential treatment to those who favored physically the traits of the dominant culture. So if there was someone who was fairer-skinned or had straighter hair or looked prettier, according to the standards on the European standard of beauty, we often thought that they were treated better. And, they may have been. If we want to just take this discussion and really go back to when we were first told we were ugly, and when we first encountered people who did not look like us, and we were brought here to this country, we basically started getting indoctrinated on us being inferior, looking inferior. There was some really direct things said to us, and also if there were babies produced from the slaves and the slave master, and those children would then have the traits of the slave master, of the European, and so their hair would be straighter, or their features would be less African and more, there'd be a balance of that. And so that sent us a message. That's part of what's been happening with us. And another part of it has been, like I said, the dominant culture that we're in, which is ironic because 1/4 of the world's population is European or white, Caucasian. 3/4 of the world's population are brown, colored, other, that descends, African ancestry, brown-skinned people you will see. So we've somehow been put in a situation where we've had to define ourselves based on the perceived power of that dominant culture. Also, we have to ask ourselves, what has beauty been for us? What really is beauty, actually, for all humans? Well, biologically, the survival of the humankind is linked to what we find attractive. And it makes sense because we have to be attracted to someone in a sexual nature to reproduce. So the features that make someone desirable are going to be linked to sex or fertility or health. And so when you come to our hair being thick and luxurious and, maybe even long, that's just linked to the nutrients that person has and the hormone levels. It's showing, outward appearances are indicators of what's going on internally. So the standards of beauty are biological. But standards of beauty vary across race. So some cultures or races, the long flowing hair is not necessarily the natural biological effect of health. But when you're in a society that's dominated by a culture that does appear like that, you're going to then see people such as African American women saying long flowing hair is what they desire, if that by nature is not something that they can achieve. Now, I have locks and my hair is long. So when we lock or braid our hair, we can achieve that. But how we can all change this is that we can not allow others to define who we are. Do we need to throw away the standard of beauty? Or do we need to make it about being healthy and about being whole? And so this whole movement is very physical, but it's also very emotional. How do we talk to ourselves? What do we say to ourselves? Do we affirm our own beauty in each other? Do we affirm our beauty in our daughters? Do we affirm our beauty with our partners? Are men affirming our beauty? So those are some of the things that I want to bring out. And, I jotted down some notes because I have a very little bit of time. I want to thank you for listening to me. I'm going to be doing a follow-up because this is something I'm very passionate about. And so, again, these are some points to think about. My name is Jessyca Marshall, LMSW of Naturally Beautiful Hair Care, and taking a holistic approach to hair care and wellness. Thank you for listening, and just a little bit of food for thought.